So, Kristen, at our site we have, it seems like an increasing number of patients who get SBRT for one reason or another. Some are medically inoperable, some prefer not to be operated on. And I think this, this specific data does open the door to exploring this approach in earlier stage disease. And I just wanted to get your comments on Pacific 4 specifically.
Yes, so we have a RTOG Foundation trial that is now active, Pacific 4, and it's testing durvalumab following SBRT for patients with stage 1 medically inoperable or high-risk early stage lung cancer. The patients will get SBRT, standard of care fractionation based on the treating radiation oncologist. They then get registered to the trial, and they will get durvalumab actually every 4 weeks for 24 months.
A little more convenient.
It is, but it does extend for 24 months. Yeah. And the primary endpoint is PFS with OS as a secondary endpoint. So we're very excited, and I think it's a great opportunity for these early stage patients to be able to receive immunotherapy. Certainly after SBRT, distant failure is the dominant pattern of failure, so we need to do something else for these patients.
And so that extended that argument, Paul, I want to get your thoughts. We've seen some early data on in the surgical setting, the neoadjuvant setting, with a number of different approaches.
Right, and Jamie Chaft and Patrick Ford have been instrumental in releasing that initial data presented at ASCO and then published in the New England Journal, which was quite compelling because we were seeing really major pathologic responses. So these are responses in the site of tumor upon resection that may not have been evident radiographically, telling us that this does have activity. In my mind, this was great information. It certainly is sort of hypothesis generating insofar as the great bulk of the work now is in trying to figure out what's the ideal way to use this, probably in combination in the early stage setting. Some of the newer data that will be presented and that is present in abstract form in terms of induction or neoadjuvant atezolizumab as a single-agent immune checkpoint inhibitor, and some data on ipilimumab and nivolumab as an induction regimen prior to surgery, again shows activity that sort of ranges in spectrum in terms of how promising for induction atezolizumab. The major path responses varied from about 8% in PD-L1 negative patients to maybe 25% in PD-L1 positive patients. Again, radiographic response rate was not that great. It was about 7%. Ipi-Nivo was a little bit higher in that arm. It was about 25, 29% for major path response. But I think the issue is chemo alone, we know from a couple of studies. Jamie Chaft had one of them for induction chemo, and then Benninger, I think, had another one. The major path response rate from chemo alone is about 22%. And it's, again, that's the context in which we're operating. So I do think that this is very promising, but kind of like how we've seen in stage 4 disease, I think combinations is where it's going to be at.
And by, when you say combinations, you mean chemo?
Even with chemotherapy,
yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Corey?
I think, and that's been borne out World Lung last year. It was a small study, but phase 2 in stage 3A patients, neoadjuvant combination nivolumab with Pac-Carbo led to a major path response rate in the 70 to 80% range in path CRs, pathologic CRs, eradication of N2 disease, eradication of the primary in over 50%. And that approach is now being explored prospectively in a number of different randomized trials, basically looking at chemo plus or minus IO in the neoadjuvant setting. Some of these trials have finished accrual. Stay tuned. There'll be major data, whether it's a data dump or a practice-changing approach remains to be seen, but certainly a lot of excitement. Frankly, I have more excitement for the combinations than for single agent in this setting.
And I think every one of the known immunologic agents we have approved in lung cancer are also in an adjuvant trial, right? And some of those have completed their accrual. So whether neoadjuvant or adjuvant is the optimal way to go is a matter of debate.
Right.
Yeah.
Until we have the data, we can
Until
keep
we have the
debating.
data,
Yeah.
yes.